Hey, I'm Oxnard.
I'm Dexter.
I'm Boss.
If you made it through that intro, you are a true fan.
Of kazoos.
This is
What?
first. We just saw the episode, and we're actually going to record it right after. We were taking notes as we were watching.
Yep. Episode 5, Season 3.
This episode was called
Kissed by Fire.
All right, before we get into the details, overall impression of the episode?
Awesome.
Pretty good.
Good episode.
Yes.
I enjoyed it.
Very good episode.
Again, I hate, we're going to always repeat ourselves the more we do this, but they get better and better and better.
Yeah, it's...
And
yeah.
again, this episode extremely heavy on character moments,
Yeah.
good stuff.
It's a character-driven story.
All
Alright, well, right off the bat, you have the fight with Barrack and the Hound.
The Hound, that's right.
Which I have a complaint about.
Oh, you do?
We got
right,
John
we'll get to that.
John and
Interesting.
Egret.
Yeah. We got some crazy Tyrion business happening in that
Yeah,
episode.
Tyrion.
Some moving Arya scene after the battle.
Mm-hmm.
Rob has some
Good
some
stuff.
trouble that he's in, and
Showing
some
his
things
ability
to do
to
with.
be king.
We have some Jaime stuff, and what I thought was the best scene of the episode. With one was involving Jaime and
Gendry stuff.
Oh, and then Daenerys,
Stannis stuff.
Granny Tyrell, Davos, yeah,
Marjorie. Gay stuff.
A
All
lot of-
kinds
yeah,
of
some gay
stuff.
First gay stuff of the season.
Oh, finally.
Pretty
I've been
gay.
waiting. I've been waiting.
Guys, I think Loras might be gay.
Yeah, I was watching that. Did you
not
see this?
sure.
I think that was a dude, right?
Pretty sure.
He might be gay.
He may be.
If you think about, if you look at all the evidence and you piece it together like a puzzle,
It's
kind of
starting to suggest.
Yeah, it's starting to suggest that perhaps maybe, he's kind of swinging for the other side of the fence.
There may be a chance of that.
There might be
a
some
slight chance.
some balls banging over there.
I don't
Knocking
buy it.
balls. He doesn't.
I don't buy it.
All right,
No.
so
Uh,
start off with Hound versus.
Barrack Dondarrion.
Yes.
Yeah, that was fucking awesome.
It's probably my favorite opening.
That was an awesome moment because they
That's-
got right to it.
Yeah.
And I loved, it was very, I think from what I remember, it was really accurate with how the fight happened in the book. And he cuts his hand open and then sets his sword on fire
Yeah.
with the blood.
My immediate thought was
Fucking awesome.
they found a way to make a medieval lightsaber fight.
Yeah, that's pretty true.
I was
That's
like,
cool.
right? That's,
Yeah, I just love the whole thing. I love, when he gets, cut right through the shoulder, down into the center of him, and just blood shooting out, and then when Arya's freaking out, she's trying to kill the Hound, screaming no, and she was screaming during the fight, saying, kill him! And then
I forgot
all of a
that happens
sudden-
in the book. I forgot she rushes him in the book, right?
I think so. I know she's she's screaming like she wants him dead.
Yeah.
And she's so pissed off, angry and scared when he gets killed, and then she's screaming, "No, kill him, kill him, kill him!" Because the Hound is wounded because the shield sets on fire.
Yeah.
And freaks out. He's afraid of fire, and he's burned really badly. And so they're gonna help him. They're gonna mend him, and she's screaming, "No, kill him and everything." And then she hears
The
a voice
Lord of
behind.
Light has decided his fate.
Yeah, exactly. That's like a perfect Barrack Dondarrion impersonation. So anyway, it's the same thing. He gets up suddenly, he turns, and he's standing there.
Yeah.
Barrack Dondarrion is talking. It's pretty creepy and awesome.
Yeah, and then that leads to another scene with Arya.
With Gendry,
Yeah, with Gendry. Gendry's deciding to stay behind, and, Arya doesn't like that.
she's really upset.
Yeah, and based on that scene, it's basically Gendry just saying, look, you're royalty, I'm not.
She has a family. He's never had a family.
Yeah,
they can never really be as close as
Yeah, and
she
I understand
wants
his
them
decision.
to.
He's being smart about it. He's like, look, you're part of a whole different world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Me, I'm a blacksmith is what I do. I'm seeing an opportunity here. Just like Hot Pie. Hot Pie made the smart choice. He's like, you know what? I'm a baker. I'm good at
Right.
it, and I got a job here. I'm sticking around.
It's sad for Arya because she spent before everything. She spent her whole life trying to not be that girl, Highborn. But no matter what she does, everyone looks at her like that, and she can't convince anybody that she's really not like that. And so the only one who really understood her was Jon Snow, and of course he's gone at the wall. So it was like a really sad moment.
Yeah,
for
Jon's
her.
off banging wildlings.
Oh man.
So then another scene with Arya is what's the guy's name? Lemon Cloak or whatever.
No, that's Thoros.
Thoros,
the priest. I don't think they never addressed anyone as a Lemon Cloak in it. He is a member in the book.
Yeah.
But no one's ever said Lemon Cloak. And Thoros, the guy that she's talking to by the fire, who's drunk, and he's explaining. They're talking about how many times he's resurrected, or had the Lord of Light resurrected Beric from the dead. That was an awesome scene.
It was really good. And Arya's like, what if they lost their head? Can you bring them back?
Yeah. Doesn't work like that.
Bring their head back.
See, I wish you would go into it more. Like, why wouldn't it, like, what if the head was just cut off and you put the head right back on the stump?
It may be, but I mean,
right?
I think he was addressing that, like, well, he's been dead for a while, and I think he has to basically be there
immediately,
right away. And maybe, I don't know. Yeah, they don't really go into it. Maybe if he had his head cut off, Beric wouldn't have been able to been resurrected.
Well, I mean, he had his throat slashed.
No, he was hung. He was hanged. They say he had his eye stabbed out.
Oh, they didn't mention.
No, that's what happens.
Yeah.
The mountain, because he gets his eye removed there, and then he was hanged. So that's what that scar is from on his neck from the rope. But I think in the book he did have his like heads like smashed in, because I think they describe at one part like his like head is like kind of like dented.
Right.
But I don't know. It might be something like that. But who knows? But anyway, it's too late either way for Ned Stark to be resurrected.
You said you had a complaint, boss?
About the...
Was it like magic that kept the sword on fire?
Well, it was the Lord of Light. He's blessed by the Lord of Light. So the
so
fire of R'hllor or whatever. Yeah, well, it was
yes or
like...
No? Yes or no question?
Yes,
well, yeah.
But we don't know why.
No.
Well, it's mystical.
I just thought his blood kept it on fire.
Yeah,
so I was
it
like,
did.
What?
That's what happens. He cuts his hand.
It's weird.
And he
that's
shoots
why I
his
was
blood
like-
on the sword, and it bursts into flames.
Then I was like, why doesn't it go out after a couple of seconds?
Yeah, because it's... Well, I think also, too, what they would say is in the... Barristan Selmy and Jorah Mormont Khaleesi... when they're talking, they mention Thoros, and during the tournaments, he would fight in them, and he would light his sword on fire.
Yeah.
I think in the book they do mention something... Holy shit, it's Hulk Hogan.
Hey, little brother.
Rocky 3 is on in the background. We went from Game of Thrones to Rocky 3.
Yeah, because it's not on demand yet, so we can't really watch the episode as we talk about it, so we're going to be talking about Hulk Hogan randomly throughout the show.
With a silly hat.
So then we get to Jon Snow. I think it's the only scene with Jon Snow, and first they're talking about...
So they're making their way towards the wall.
Yeah.
And then, they're asking, like, how many castles... There are however many castles... Hulk Hogan is distracting me so much here. Flexing his muscles. Kissing them now. Anyway, they're going to storm the wall. They want to know how many castles are manned on the wall. And so he tell them truthfully which ones, but the one guy doesn't believe him, the one warg guy. And, there's some threats made. Was that guy... Is his name... That's Tormund Giantsbane? Is that guy's name? The guy with the beard?
Idea.
I think it was.
The guy with the red beard?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I think it was. But he's like, he basically threatens him, and it's like, well, we'll find out if you're telling the truth or not.
Right.
Even though I like you, I'll kill you. And then Ygritte, who is like defending Jon Snow, pulls him into her fucking cave, and...
oh yeah, Jon gets laid.
Yeah. Which is a pretty big deal for him.
Yeah,
because he's a virgin, I think, number one. And also, he's breaking his vow of the Night's Watch, because inside, he is still... a member of the Night's Watch, and he's doing everything he's doing. Mm-hmm. You kind of forget at this point, because they don't really... In the book, you're constantly reminded of it because you have an inner monologue for him.
Yeah.
But here, it's like the first time you see... And you see it more when he's struggling to tell the information about who's manning the wall. And then less so when he's, like, presented with a hot, naked Ygritte.
That's why I watch the show. That's pretty much it.
Just been waiting for that.
I'm kind of done with it now. So that's been...
I tuned out after that scene.
We'll be closing our YouTube account tomorrow, and I hope you enjoyed it. No. Okay, so then Jaime and Brienne, they finally get to Lord Bolton's... Where is that exactly? That's...
That was at Harrenhal.
That's Harrenhal, right?
Pretty
okay.
sure, yeah.
And then,
that was an awesome scene.
yeah, I like that. He slowly starts. He's making him think his sister died or something.
Yeah, Bruce Bolton was awesome there.
Yeah.
And then they introduce Qyburn, who is the kind of maester that they have, but he's like the disgraced maester.
Oh yeah.
Who was exiled from the
They could have made
guild.
that. They could have made that really horrible to watch. But
That was pretty gross. It was pretty horrible to watch already.
It looked horrible, but they didn't. I thought they might do a prolonged scene of like.
He's screaming, and they just keep going to do an extreme close up of him getting. Like,
and that guy kind of had like a
stumped.
weird, kind of happy look when he was like dealing. Right,
Well,
that guy's a little.
Yeah, he likes
what's
it.
going
yeah.
on there?
He enjoys his work. He's a little too. We got kicked out because his methods were a little extreme.
That's another thing. Like, isn't that gonna take hours to cut off the dead flesh? Like, he's just gonna keep screaming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what's so intense. That's why he
He'll
refused.
pass
milk.
out like, I don't know, 20 seconds in probably.
Well, maybe. But we
As
didn't
long,
see that.
I mean,
part.
if it's dead flesh,
But he's not just enduring that
Right?
for hours. That's what I'm saying.
I don't know. Well, he said you should have milk of the poppy, which is like
opium.
get him drunk. Yeah, exactly. Like an opiate to like so he won't feel the pain. Good God,
This is really distracting.
You have to draw clips of what's happening in the background. Hulk Hogan is wrestling Rocky in slow motion. And he looks like he's wearing a diaper. Hulk Hogan. It's like this white, tighty whitey underpants.
All right, and so then we get to he's picking her up like a ragdoll.
Wait,
And
it cut. They were on the ground, and then when it cuts back to them, he's holding him in the air already. Who edited this thing?
spinning him around like a top. All right, then.
Okay.
So then we get the nice, sexy hot tub scene, which I've been waiting for.
Oh, so anyway, this was my favorite scene of the whole episode.
So yeah, then Jamie gives his story about like when he killed the Mad King.
Like why you finally get to see why he did, because the whole book series and the whole series on the HBO up to that point, you know, you only get the one side of the story, which is what everyone else heard.
Right.
And now you finally. That's when it really gets into. You've been getting glimpses of what Jamie is like underneath this, shield and that he has.
Well, he has that stigma of like he's the Kingslayer, and like everyone knows the story.
Yeah, and everyone thinks he's a dishonorable asshole.
Yeah.
Which he totally then plays up.
Yeah.
But really, he did it because, he reveals that, the Mad King was going to burn the whole city. He wanted him to kill his own father and all this stuff, and he was going to destroy and kill all these women until they would be burned alive. And I just thought it was like, that was my favorite
it was
scene.
really
The
good.
performance was so awesome.
Yeah.
I was like, it was really intense.
Yeah, that guy's doing
Really
a great job.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Should do more Conan interviews.
Yeah, that was really funny.
We get Littlefinger and Cersei.
No, there was a very short scene with Littlefinger
Right?
and Cersei.
Yeah.
And I didn't write any notes about it because right after the Tyrion scene came up and I started paying attention to that.
Okay, so let's just skip that and
let's
go to
just skip that,
Tyrion and then Granny Tyrell. They have this little
Yes.
meeting talking about this upcoming royal wedding. Joffrey and Marjorie are apparently spending a lot of money on a wedding.
This is a
Lot
terrible.
of-
Why is this going so
It's gonna
bad?
be
Why is this going? Why are you being
You
so
have
weird
notes
about
there.
it?
I thought you had
gonna be
something.
a-
Yeah, well, you were talking about it, and then you're like, what are you feeling to that? I don't know,
there's
it's
gonna
so
be
strange.
lots of figs.
Lots of figs. Granny Tyrell
She
eats
loves
figs,
figs.
so she can
This
poop.
guy is not getting enough figs. She needs more figs.
Faster
The
figs.
guy gets some figs. She enjoys the figs.
Shits her pants. End of scene.
Roll the credits. Da, 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 da.
Yeah, well, so far, Granny Tyrell just matches wits and bests everybody who's supposed to be, like, the sharpest tack in King's Landing, which I think is hilarious. And, basically it's just, her talking about how... It shows how much that they need the Tyrells, or how much she thinks that the Lannisters need the Tyrells anyway.
And
And
then
they're going to pay for half of the wedding. And so Tyrion feels like he has like a little victory as Master of Coin.
Yeah. And so with that, happiness in his hearts, there's only 2 scenes with Tyrion.
No, and the second scene is the final scene of the episode.
The final scene, where it's revealed that Tyrion, by order of Tywin, is to marry Sansa.
Yeah, he knows. Tywin apparently
What do you
knows
think
about
of
the
that?
whole plot.
Good. Put those kids in line. That's what I think.
Yeah, but isn't that like a matchup you didn't expect? Because when I read that in
Were
the
you
book,
surprised?
like those were seriously when I was reading the book, those are the last 2 characters I would like Tyrion and Sansa.
Oh, I'm not surprised because, it's not like they're like, oh, I love you. It's just because it's like, hey, you have to marry her.
Yeah, but think of the shenanigans that they're going to get into. All the Sansa Tyrion adventures
they'll have. Spin-off series.
Da-da, da-da, da-da.
I thought that was a surprise for me when I read the book, but then that was pretty good, and I liked too because I was getting mad I was really into the episode, and Cersei's like, rubbing it in, and Tyrion,
she
and I
keeps
was like,
interrupting,
shut up. And then Tywin says to her, "Oh, you're gonna marry Loras," which I don't remember if that's in the book. That Tywin was gonna force her to marry Loras.
Honestly, I don't. That was new to me. I don't remember that happening.
I don't remember that. I know that in the books they talk. There is like backstory for her where she, obviously was in love with Jaime, didn't want to marry anybody else, and then she was going to be set up with Rhaegar, I think.
Rhaegar?
Yeah, Targaryen. Oh no, anyway, because Cersei's like does not want to be married again, and then she was forced to marry Robert, which she hated being married to, because she was happy to marry him in the beginning,
mm-hmm.
and then he was a horrible drunk, who I think the first night that they spent together, he was like completely wasted, like fell asleep on top of her, something like that.
Right,
he was
right,
a horrible asshole. So then she became like the cynical bitch that she was, and so her being married again is like a nightmare for her. So,
Right.
But I thought it was funny because and that's what Boss liked, putting them both in line.
Yeah.
Hey, I kind of like it too. I mean, Tywin,
Tywin doesn't give a shit
well, he has to get shit
what
done.
they think. He's saying this is the logical move, so he's doing it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he's kind of an asshole, but you know what? He gets results.
Well, he's a horrible person.
Yeah, but the results are there. You just got a long list of results. Tywin results. You can write a
Mark
book on
it down.
And then we get to some interesting Rob scenes. Now, the first thing I noticed, everyone was burying their chests. Everyone had like an open collared shirt. Did you notice that?
No, I didn't.
I noticed that Rob did, but I didn't notice
He
everyone
did,
else.
and then
Really?
Yeah, Caitlyn, her brother.
Blackfish? Oh, Edmer?
Yeah, like he had an open shirt. Everyone's like
Must
open
be,
shirt day.
that's the fashion in River Run.
And I was gonna say, Caitlyn looks really good with her hair down. I just wrote that down.
That's weird.
What?
I didn't notice.
Well, she's like...
What? You guys don't find power sexy? Who doesn't find power sexy?
She's not in power at all.
I thought Blackfish was kind of sexy.
That was awesome when he punched Karstark in the face. Karstark's a
That was funny because
asshole,
that edit
He's fucking
looked
tall,
weird
that
to
guy.
me. At first, I thought someone punched Rob in the face.
Really? That's funny because I made a
watching
note
the same episode?
that I liked the editing in this episode. That was one of the notes I made.
No, I like the editing
'Cause they
too,
had a
but-
lot of good transitions. So basically,
Right.
what Oxnard took away from that scene is that all the men wear open shirts.
Right,
And,
and Caitlyn Stark is hot.
Rob got punched.
No, and Rob is also
and
displaying...
Caitlyn Stark is hot. Yeah.
Yeah, and she looks good with her hair down. Rob does the beheading himself, as his father did, which I liked. And then they have that scene with him and... what's the name of his wife? The nurse?
Rob? Oh,
The woman he loves.
Mrs. Stark.
Stark.
Well, then he plans and he's like, okay, we gotta... Something with the
with
phrase.
Una Chaplin. That's her name.
Yeah,
In real
that's
life.
I think that's like Charlie Chaplin's
It's his granddaughter.
granddaughter, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Rob is planning to make this move. He's gonna go visit the phrase. That's like the last thing he said.
Right. Well, he has to get because he killed Karstark because Caitlyn Stark let Jaime Lannister go, and Jaime Lannister had killed one of Karstark's kids. So he wanted vengeance for that. And when she had released him, he was fucking furious about it. So he finally has enough. Him and his men, some of his men, burst through and killed the two kids. The whole thing, and then Rob, has them all hanged, and then he chops Karstark's head off himself. And then he's lost all those men. So now he's got to go get the Freys help, who he betrayed by not marrying the daughter that he was supposed to. So he's going to try and get their help, and then he's going to attack Casterly Rock, which is the Lannister home.
Right.